Hello! Welcome back to Read the Bible with me. We are on day 16, and we're a little bit later tonight. I wanted to rearrange my schedule and start in the evening today. So here we are. recap. So I always say quick recap, and then I'm going to try to actually make this quick. But where we've been, we have finished reading the book of Chronicles, which is going into further detail of the story of the southern nation of Judah. It was wonderful. We heard some wonderful stories about kings who had tremendous faith in God, kings who did what was right. But it seems that we would have a really great king, and he would come in and he would fix everything that had gone wrong. He would rebuild the temple. He would reinstate the law, the book of the law. He would reinstate worship that people had not been doing. He would bring back all of the things that the people of God were commanded to do, and he would tear down different idols, different demonic deities. People would walk with God for a little bit, and then either that particular king would stop walking with God and he would make a change of his personal trajectory, or we would see that he would pass away and be buried, and then his son would arise to be king in his place, and the son would not necessarily follow God. And then you would have a king who did evil, and the king who did evil would come in and tear down parts of the temple again, cause destruction within the temple. They might, in the case of this one, there's a female queen, Athaliah, and she comes in and actually, I think she fills, if I remember correctly, she fills the temple with all sorts of demonic images and deities, and the whole thing starts to back up again. And so then we have the evil king or the evil queen, and then they get removed or they pass away, and then we have a good king, and the good king comes in and fixes the damage once again and builds everything back up again, and there are good times. But it just seems that in this whole process, it's like cyclical. We cannot have a sustained period of walking with the Lord or knowing the Lord for any long period of time, because we're depending upon these kings that are human beings, and sometimes they walk with God and sometimes they don't. So it feels like we need a longer term solution than a king. To that end, God has come in and has judged the nation. We saw the nation of Israel was taken away to Assyria. Now we've had the nation of Judah that's been taken away to Babylon. Even one of the final kings, King Josiah, who was a very good king, did the things that God wanted him to do, did all the right things, but God said that the past sins were too much. And it's a really interesting thing, because there were very good people who were following the Lord in Judah, and they were carried off also. So we see that God does judge entire nations at times for corporate sin, for sin that maybe individuals haven't engaged in, but the whole nation has as majority participated in. So Judah's taken off to Babylon, and we see that the land rests for 70 years. All the Jewish people are going to be in Babylon, and the land is going to be resting. It will not be harvested or worked, and the land, as the Lord says, is going to enjoy the Sabbaths. That was something that they were supposed to rest the land periodically every 7 years, and then every Jubilee year, and their harvest, and they hadn't been doing it, and so the land gets a rest. In the meantime, we transitioned our focus off of um, that immediate situation. Now we've moved into a series of books, smaller books after Chronicles, after the history book. We have 3 books in a row here. I was thinking of this today. This is so interesting. We have Ezra, which we read yesterday. And in Ezra, we're following the life of a priest, one of the godly people who um, was taken away, or I don't know how old he was, if he was born yet, but either he grew up in captivity or he was taken into captivity. I'm assuming he actually grew up in captivity. I don't actually know that. And he comes back as a priest to the land of Israel after the 70 years. King Cyrus says that he wants the temple to be rebuilt. These kings, we have a series of Babylonian kings, Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes. And Cyrus and Artaxerxes in particular are going to open the king's treasuries, and they're going to write a blank check basically to Israel and say, like, whatever you need to rebuild this temple, let's get it done. And they're going to allow Jewish people who were removed from their homeland, or maybe their parents were removed from the homeland, and these are their children because it's been 70 years now. They're going to allow them to go back. They're going to actually commission them to go back in a way and rebuild. In the case of Ezra, he's rebuilding the temple, and Nehemiah, whom we're in right now, is going to be rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem, because whenever we were reading before, we read that the temple was completely torn down and destroyed. It was burned with fire. And the walls of Jerusalem, it was a wall city, so the walls all around that were designed to protect Jerusalem were broken down. So Ezra, the priest, comes and he is overseeing the rebuilding of the temple. They say that in Ezra that whenever they lay the foundations, there's a mixture of people there. Some people were elderly people and they had seen the original temple, and they wept when they saw the new foundation because it was not comparable to the glory of the original temple. And meanwhile, there were younger people who had never seen the original temple and were just filled with joy to be a part of its rebuilding, to be a part of its recommissioning. And they shouted for joy. And there was a mixture of weeping and shouting for joy, so that there was confusion. People could hear it from a long ways away, and they were confused as to what was going on because um, of this mixture of emotions going on as they're rebuilding the temple. So they've rebuilt the temple, and in Nehemiah here, they're rebuilding the wall. They have a lot of opposition to this. So they have people who have been kind of hanging around the geographical area of Israel while the population of Judah has been removed in Babylon. And these people are not happy to see the original inhabitants of the land return. And so they are creating obstacles for them in rebuilding this wall. And that's kind of where we are right now. I think it's really interesting because today I'm going to go ahead and kind of preview a couple other things, because we're going to start moving through books a little bit more quickly. Some of these books are going to be a little bit shorter. And so I'm going to go ahead and talk just a little bit about that. I was thinking today, there's so many things that I've never thought about before because I've never read the Bible in this way, in this quick of succession. And one of the things that really struck me was that we have 3 books here. We're going to have Ezra, the priest, Nehemiah, who's going to be a bit of a government official, and then we have Esther, who's going to be a Jewish queen. She's chosen to be queen of Babylon, and um, we'll get into that in a little bit. But we have 3 people here that are in kind of extraordinary circumstances that they sorry, I was hearing something. They yes, this is where we're going with this. So I was thinking about the fact that we have, at the end of Chronicles and at the end of Kings, we have God judging a nation for its corporate sin and removing the nation for its corporate sin. So we have people who were living under the consequences, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, of things that they didn't personally participate in. They didn't personally participate in the worship of these demonic entities. They were, as far as we can tell, these are people who were very faithful to God their entire lives, but they're living in the consequences of this corporate sin of a nation, even though they are individually faithful to God. And I think that that's very interesting. That today I was thinking about that these books are grouped together and they're followed by a very interesting book that we're about to get into called the Book of Job. And in Job, we have a situation that we're going to read about today where someone faces what appear to be the consequences of sin, but they haven't done any of that sin. So the um, they're living under great suffering and under great trial. But the Bible is very clear that Job did not do anything on his own to merit that. In fact, Job, we'll read about, is being tried and tested because of his faith, because he is loyal to God. And so I was thinking today, I was like, that's really interesting that we have this juxtaposition here. The Bible saying that these two things both exist. Sometimes we have um, situations where we can look and say, maybe this nation or this people or this person is being receiving the consequences of their sin. And then other times we have situations where people are living under very difficult circumstances, or maybe they're enduring trial and suffering because they're faithful to God. And so I thought, that's really interesting because I never considered I thought the placement of Job was sort of like, oh, well, we don't know where else to put it, so I guess we'll put it here, because it is an unusual book in the Bible. We don't, there's a lot that we don't know about the book of Job. Um, and so we're not really even sure, like, as far as the best of my understanding, like who Job was. We know that we think that from the little that I've understood that his friends that are listed, they seem to be from Arabian countries, so it's possible maybe he's an Arabian, um, maybe he's from the southern part of Judah, like definitely seems to be in that vicinity of I think the Nabatean kingdom, somewhere over kind of like southeast of where we would look at Israel today. Maybe that's kind of what we think, but there's a lot we don't know about Job. So, anyways, and today I was like, oh, maybe that's part of the reason why they put Job here is because the Lord wanted to make a footnote and say, but not all suffering and not all trials are because of my judgment. Some are actually a blessing and they're an honor because God is honoring his people that they are faithful to him. So, there's something else I was going to say about that. Job in particular. So this was this book of the Bible, I think, is um, to me, it's one of the most challenging books of the Bible because there's a lot of very subtle and I would say almost a little bit twisted argument to it. It's Job and his friends speaking, and his friends are going to be accusing him almost kind of like maybe kind of a lawyer would accuse somebody in a court of law, but using very, very subtle logic with very subtle lies mixed in. And so I think it's a little bit tricky to read because you'll be reading along and think, well, that argument sounds pretty good. And then maybe they're right. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute. Like, um, when I hear the whole argument in totality, there are some flaws with it. And also because these people are accusing, you'll see these people are, if you've read it before, like these people are accusing Job of doing things that Job is trying to defend himself that he's innocent of. And so it's a very complicated book, I feel like personally, outside of the first chapters and then the ending chapter. I would love to hear and I would love to hear an attorney like break down Job one day. I think that would be really, really interesting. But for the different arguments that are made. But that's a recap and then a preview of where we're going to go today. So here we go. Let me pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time that we get to spend in your word today. I pray, God, for my own heart and for anyone who comes to listen, Lord, that you would fill our hearts, Lord, with faith, fill our hearts with the desire to know you more, to be soft, God, to whatever it is you would say to us, Lord, um, and listen and receive whatever you would say to us, Lord. I pray that you would help us to understand your word, God, and I pray, God, that you would make your word abundantly clear, God, to anyone who would listen and to myself, Lord. I pray this in your holy name. Amen. Here we go. Nehemiah chapter 5. And there was a great outcry of the people and their wives against their Jewish brethren. For there were those who said, We, our sons and our daughters, are many. Therefore, let us get grain, that we may eat and live. There were also some who said, We have mortgaged our land and vineyards and houses, that we might buy grain because of the famine. There were also those who said, We have borrowed money for the king's tax on our lands and vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children, and indeed we are forcing our sons and daughters to be slaves. And some of our daughters have been brought into slavery. It is not in our power to redeem them, for other men have our lands and vineyards. Also, and I became very angry when I heard their outcry in these words. After serious thought, I rebuked the nobles and rulers and said to them, Each of you is exacting usury from his brother. So I called a great assembly against them, and I said to them, According to our ability, we have redeemed our Jewish brethren who were sold to the nations. Now indeed, will you even sell your brethren, or should they be sold to us? Then they were silenced and found nothing to say. Then I said, What you are doing is not good. Should you not walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the nations, our enemies? I also, with my brethren and my servants, am lending them money and grain. Please stop this usury. Restore now to them, even this day, their lands, their vineyards, their olive groves, and their houses, also 100th of the money and the grain, the new wine and the oil that you have charged them. So they said, We will restore it and will require nothing from them. We will do as you say. Then I called the priests and required an oath from them that they would do according to this promise. Then I shook out the fold of my garment and said, So may God shake out each man from his house and from his property, who does not perform this promise. Even thus may he be shaken out and emptied. And all the assembly said, Amen, and praised the Lord. Then the people did according to this promise. Moreover, from the time that I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year until the 32nd year of King Artaxerxes, 12 years, neither I nor my brothers ate the governor's provisions. But the former governors who were before me laid burdens on the people, and took from them bread and wine, besides 40 shekels of silver. Yes, even their servants bore rule over the people, but I did not do so because of the fear of God. Indeed, I also continued the work on this wall, and we did not buy any land. All my servants were gathered there for the work. And at my table were 150 Jews and rulers, besides those who came to us from the nations around us. Now that which was prepared daily was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep. Also fowl were prepared for me, and once every 10 days an abundance of all kinds of wine. Yet in spite of this I did not demand the governor's provisions, because the bondage was heavy on this people. Remember me, my God, for good, according to all that I have done for this people. Now it happened when Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had rebuilt the wall, and that there were no breaks left in it, though at that time I had not hung the doors and the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent to me, saying, Come, let us meet together among the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me harm. So I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and go down to you? But they sent me this message 4 times, and I answered them in the same manner. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me as before, the 5th time, with an open letter in his hand. In it was written, It is reported among the nations, and Geshem says, that you and the Jews plan to rebel. Therefore, according to these rumors, you are rebuilding the wall, that you may be their king. And you have also appointed prophets to proclaim concerning you at Jerusalem, saying, There is a king in Judah. Now these matters will be reported to the king. So come therefore, and let us consult together. Then I sent to him, saying, No such thing as you say, no such things as you say are being done, but you invent them in your own heart. For they were trying to make us afraid, saying, Their hands will be weakened in the work, and it will not be done. Now, therefore, O God, strengthen my hands. Afterward I came to the house of Shemaiah, the son of Delaiah, the son of Mehetabel, who was a secret informer. And he said, Let us meet together in the house of God within the temple, and let us close the doors of the temple, for they are coming to kill you. Indeed, at night they will come to kill you. And I said, Should such a man as I flee? And who is there such as I who would not go into the temple to save his life? Who is there such as I who would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. Therefore I perceived that God had not sent him at all, but that he pronounced this prophecy against me because Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. For this reason he was hired, that I should be afraid and act that way in sin, so that they might have cause for an evil report, that they might reproach me. My God, remember Tobiah and Sanballat according to these their works, and the prophetess Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets who would have made me afraid. So the wall was finished on the 25th day of Elul in 52 days, and it happened when all our enemies heard of it, and all the nations around us saw these things, that they were very disheartened in their own eyes, for they perceived that this work was done by our God. Also, in those days the nobles of Judah sent many letters to Tobiah, and the letters of Tobiah came to them. For many in Judah were pledged to him, because he was the son-in-law of Shechaniah the son of Aruah, and his son Jehohanan had married the daughter of Melusham, the son of Berechiah. Also they reported his good deeds to me, and reported my words to him. Tobiah sent letters to frighten me. Then it was, when the wall was built and I had hung the doors, when the gatekeepers, the singers, and the Levites had been appointed, that I gave the charge of Jerusalem to my brother Hananiah, and Hananiah the leader of the citadel, for he was a faithful man and feared God more than many. And I said to them, Do not let the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun is hot. And while they stand guard, let them shut and bar the doors, and appoint guards from among the inhabitants of Jerusalem, one at his watch station, and another in front of his own house. Now the city was large and spacious, but the people in it were few, and the houses were not rebuilt. Then my God put it into my heart to gather the nobles, the rulers, and the people, that they might register by genealogy. And I found a register of the genealogy of those who had come up in the first return, and found written in it, These are the people of the province who came back from the captivity of those who had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away, and who had returned to Jerusalem and Judah, everyone to his own city. Those who came with Zerubbabel were Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Remaiah, Nahamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispereth, Bigva, Nehum, and Bathna. The number of the men of the people of Israel, the sons of Parosh, 2,172. The sons of Shephatiah, 372. The sons of Arah, 652. The sons of Pahath Moab, of the sons of Jeshua and Joab, 2,818. The sons of Elam, 1,254. The sons of Zatu, 845. The sons of Zakkai, 760. The sons of Binua, 648. The sons of Bebai, 628. The sons of Asgad, 2,322. The sons of Adinakam, 667. The sons of Bigvai, 2,067. The sons of Adin, 658. The sons of Atir Hezekiah, 98. The sons of Hashum, 328. The sons of Bezai, 324. The sons of Harif, 112. The sons of Gibeon, 95. The men of Bethlehem and Netophah, 188. The men of Ananoth, 128. The men of Beth Azmathveth, 42. The men of Kirjath Jearim, Hirfarah, and Beeroth, 743. The men of Ramah and Geba, 621. The men of Michmas, 122. The men of Bethel and Ai, 123. The men of the other Nebo, 52. The sons of the other Elam, 1,254. The sons of Harim, 320. The sons of Jericho, 345. The sons of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 721. The sons of Sinaa, 3,930. The priests, the sons of Jedediah of the house of Jeshua, 973. The sons of Emer, 1,052. The sons of Pashur, 1,247. The sons of Harim, 1,017. The Levites, the sons of Jeshua of Kadmiel, and of the sons of Hodevah, 74. The singers, the sons of Asaph, 148. The gatekeepers, the sons of Shallum, the sons of Ater, the sons of Talmon, the sons of Akub, the sons of Hatita, the sons of Shobai, 138. The Nethinim, the sons of Ziha, the sons of Hapusha, the sons of Tabaoth, the sons of Kuros, the sons of Sia, the sons of Padon, the sons of Labana, the sons of Hagabah, the sons of Salmai, the sons of Hanan, the sons of Gidel, the sons of Gahar, the sons of Reaiah, the sons of Rezin, the sons of Nedoka, the sons of Gazam, the sons of Uzzah, the sons of Paseah, the sons of Bizai, the sons of Meunim, the sons of Nephishim, the sons of Babuk, the sons of Hakufa, the sons of Harhur, the sons of Bazlith, the sons of Medhida, the sons of Harsha, the sons of Barkos, the sons of Sisera, the sons of Tamah, the sons of Neziah, the sons of Hatipha, the sons of Solomon's servants, the sons of Sotai, the sons of Sophereth, the sons of Perida, the sons of Ja'ala, the sons of Darkon, the sons of Gedel, the sons of Shephatiah, the sons of Hatiel, the sons of Pochereth of Zabaim, the sons of Amon, all the Nethanim, and the sons of Solomon's servants were 392. And these were the ones who came up from Tel Malah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Emer, but they could not identify their father's house nor lineage, whether they were of Israel. The sons of Delaiah, the sons of Tobiah, the sons of Nekoda, 642, and of the priests, the sons of Habaiah, the sons of Koz, the sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was called by their name. These sought their listing among those who were registered by genealogy, but it was not found. Therefore they were excluded from the priesthood as defiled. And the governor said to them that they could not eat of the most holy things till a priest could consult with the Urim and the Thummim. Altogether the whole assembly was 42,360, besides their male and female servants, of whom there were 7,337, and they had 245 men and women singers. Their horses were 736, and their mules 245, their camels 435, and donkeys 6,720. And some of the heads of the fathers' houses gave to the work. The governor gave to the treasury 1,000 gold drachmas, 50 basins, and 530 priestly garments. Some of the heads of the fathers' houses gave to the treasury of the work 20,000 gold drachmas and 2,200 silver minas, and that which the rest of the people gave was 20,000 gold drachmas, 2,000 silver minas, and 67 priestly garments. So the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, and some of the people, the Nethinim, and all Israel dwelt in their cities. When the 7th month came, the children of Israel were in their cities. Now all the people gathered together as one man in the open square that was in front of the water gate. And they told Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord had commanded Israel. So Ezra the priest brought the law before the assembly of men and women, and all who could hear with understanding, on the first day of the 7th month. Then he read from it in the open square that was in front of the water gate from morning until midday, before the men and women and those who could understand. And the ears of all the people were attentive to the book of the law. So Ezra the scribe stood on a platform of wood which they had made for the purpose. And beside him, at his right hand, stood Mattithiah, Shema, and Anaiah, Urijah, Hilkiah, and Maaseiah, and at his left hand Pedaiah, Mishael, Halikijah, Hashum, Hashbadana, Zechariah, and Meshullam. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was standing above all the people. And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra blessed the Lord, the great God. Then all the people answered, Amen, Amen, while lifting up their hands. And they bowed their heads and worshipped the Lord with their faces to the ground. Also Joshua, Bani, Sherebiah, Jamin, Akub, Shabbathai, Hodijah, Messiah, Kelita, Azariah, Jozabad, Hanan, Pelaiah, and the Levites helped the people to understand the law. And the people stood in their place. So they read distinctly from the book and the law of God, and they gave the sense and helped them to understand the reading. And Nehemiah was the governor, Ezra the priest and the scribe, and who was the governor, Nehemiah who was the governor, Ezra the priest, the scribe, and the Levites who taught the people, said to all the people, This day is holy to the Lord your God. Do not mourn nor weep. For all the people wept when they heard the words of the law. Then he said to them, Go your way, eat the fat, drink the sweet, and send portions to those for whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy to our Lord. Do not sorrow, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. So the Levites quieted all the people, saying, Be still, for the day is holy. Do not be grieved. And all the people went their way to eat and drink, to send portions, and rejoice greatly, because they understood the words that were declared to them. Now on the second day, the heads of the fathers' houses of all the people, with the priests and the Levites, were gathered to Ezra the scribe, in order to understand the words of the law. And they found written in the law which the Lord had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths during the feast of the 7th month, and that they should announce and proclaim in all the cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go out to the mountain and bring olive branches, branches of oil trees, myrtle trees, palm trees, and branches of leafy trees to make booths, as it is written. Then the people went out and brought them and made themselves booths, each one on the roof of his house, or in their courtyards, or in the courts of the house of God, and in the open square of the water gate, and in the open square of the gate of Ephraim. So the whole assembly of those who had returned from captivity made booths and sat under the booths. For since the days of Joshua, the son of Nun, until that day, the children of Israel had not done so. And there was very great gladness. Also, day by day, from the first day until the last day, he read from the book of the law of God. And they kept the feast 7 days, and on the 8th day there was a sacred assembly, according to the prescribed manner. Now on the 24th day of the month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting, in sackcloth, and with dust on their heads. Then those of Israelite lineage separated themselves from all the foreigners, and they stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers. And they stood up in their place and read from the book of the law of the Lord their God, for 1/4 of the day, and for another fourth they confessed and worshipped the Lord their God. Then Jeshua, Bani, Kadmiel, Shebaniah, Buni, Sherebiah, Bani, and Hanani stood on the stairs of the Levites and cried out with a loud voice to the Lord their God. And the Levites, Jeshua, Kadmiel, Bani, Hashabniah, Sherebiah, Hodijah, Shebaniah, and Pethiah said, Stand up and bless the Lord your God forever and ever. Blessed be your glorious name, who is exalted above all blessing and praise. You alone are the Lord. You have made heaven, the heaven of heavens with all their host, the earth and everything on it, the seas and all that is in them, and you preserve them all. The host of heaven worships you. You are the Lord God, who chose Abram and brought him out of the Ur of Chaldeans, and gave him the name Abraham. You found his heart faithful before you, and made a covenant with him, to give the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, and the Girgashites, to give it to his descendants, who you have performed your words, for you are righteous. You saw the affliction of our fathers in Egypt, and heard their cry by the Red Sea. You showed signs and wonders against Pharaoh, against all his servants, and against all the people of his land, for you knew that they acted proudly against them. So you made a name for yourself as it is this day, and you divided the sea before them, so that they went through the midst of the sea on the dry land. And their persecutors you threw into the deep, as a stone into the mighty waters. Moreover, you led them by day with a cloudy pillar, and by night with a pillar of fire, to give them light on the road which they should travel. You came down also on Mount Sinai, and spoke with them from heaven, and gave them just ordinances and true laws, good statutes and commandments. You made known to them your holy Sabbath, and commanded them precepts, statutes, and laws. By the hand of Moses your servant, you gave them bread from heaven for their hunger, and brought them water out of the rock for their thirst, and told them to go in to possess the land which you had sworn to give them. But they and our fathers acted proudly, hardened their necks, and did not heed your commandments. They refused to obey, and they were not mindful of your wonders that you did among them. But they hardened their necks, and in their rebellion they appointed a leader to return to their bondage. But you are God, ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, abundant in kindness, and did not forsake them. Even when they made a molded calf for themselves, and said, "This is your God that brought you out of Egypt," and worked great provocations, yet in your manifold mercies you did not forsake them in the wilderness. The pillar of the cloud did not depart from them day by day to lead them on the road, nor the pillar of fire by night to show them light and the way they should go. You also gave your good spirit to instruct them, and did not withhold your manna from their mouth, and gave them water for their thirst. 40 years you sustained them in the wilderness, they lacked nothing. Their clothes did not wear out, and their feet did not swell. Moreover, you gave them kingdoms and nations, and divided them into districts. So they took possession of the land of Sihon, of the land of the king of Heshbon, of the land of Og, king of Bashan. You also multiplied their children as the stars of heaven, and brought them into the land which you told their fathers. You told their fathers to go in and possess. So the people went in and possessed the land. You subdued it before them. You subdued before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, and also gave them into their hands, with their kings and the people of the land, that they might do with them as they wished. And they took strong cities and a rich land, and possessed houses full of all goods, cisterns already dug, vineyards, olive groves, and fruit trees in abundance. So they ate and were filled and grew fat, and delighted themselves in your great goodness. Nevertheless, they were disobedient and rebelled against you, cast your law behind their backs, and killed your prophets who testified against them, to turn them to yourself, and they worked great provocations. Therefore you delivered them into the hand of their enemies, who oppressed them, and in the time of their trouble when they cried to you, you heard from heaven, and according to your abundant mercies you gave them deliverers, who saved them from the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, they again did evil before you. Therefore you left them in the hand of their enemies, so that they had dominion over them. Yet when they returned and cried out to you, you heard from heaven, and many times you delivered them according to your mercies, and testified against them, that you might bring them back to your law. Yet they acted proudly, and did not heed your commandments, and sinned against your judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. And they shrugged their shoulders, stiffened their necks, and would not hear. Yet for many years you had patience with them, and testified against them by your Spirit and your prophets, yet they would not listen. Therefore you gave them into the hand of the peoples of the lands. Nevertheless, in your great mercy, you did not utterly consume them nor forsake them. For you are God, gracious and merciful. Now, therefore, our God, the great, the mighty, and awesome God, who keeps covenant and mercy, do not let all this trouble seem small before you that has come upon us, our kings and our princes, our priests and our prophets, our fathers, and on all your people, from the days of the kings of Assyria until now. However, you are just in all that has befallen us, for you have dealt faithfully, but we have done wickedly. Neither our kings nor our princes, our priests nor our fathers have kept your law, nor heeded your commandments and your testimonies, which you have testified against them. For they have not served you in their kingdom, or in the many good things that you gave them, or in the large and rich land which you set before them, nor did they turn from their wicked works. Here we are servants today, and the land that you gave to our fathers to eat its fruit and its bounty. Here we are servants in it, and it yields much increase to the kings you have set over us. because of our sins. Also, they have dominion over our bodies and our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. And because of all this, we make a sure covenant and write it. Our leaders, our Levites, and our priests seal it. Now, those who placed their seal on the document were Nehemiah the governor, the son of Hakaliah, and Zedekiah, Seraiah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Amariah, Malchijah, Hattush, Shebaniah, Malluch, Harim, Meremoth, Obadiah, Daniel, Ginnathan, Baruch, Melisham, Abijah, Mishmaim, Maziah, Bilgai, and Shemaiah. These were the priests. The Levites, Jeshua the son of Azaniah, Benui of the sons of Henadad and Kadmiel, their brethren, Shebaniah, Hodijah, Kelita, Pelaiah, Hanan, Miha, Rehob, Hashabiah, Zakur, Sherebiah, Shebaniah, Hodijah, Bani, and Bin Inu, the leaders of the people, Parosh, Pahath Moab, Elam, Zatu, Bani, Buni, Azgad, Bebai, Adinijah, Bigva, Adin, Ater, Hezekiah, Azur, Hodijah, Hashum, Bizai, Harith, Anathoth, Nabai, Magpiash, Meshullam, Hezer, Meshezabal, Zaduk, Jad, Jad, Jadua, Peliatiah, Hanan, Anaiah, Hoshea, Hanahiah, Hashub, Halohish, Pilha, Shobek, Rehum, Hashbenah, Messiah, Ahijah, Hanan, Anan, Maluk, Harim, and Baanah. Now the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, the Nethium, and all those who had separated themselves from the people of the lands to the law of God, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone who had knowledge and understanding, these joined with their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses the servant of God, and to observe and do all the commandments of the Lord our God, and his ordinance and statutes. We would not give our daughters as wives to the peoples of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons. If the peoples of the land brought wares or any grain to sell on the Sabbath day, we would not buy it from them on the Sabbath or on a holy day, and we would forego the seventh year's produce and the exacting of every debt. We also made ordinances for ourselves to exact from ourselves yearly 1/3 of a shekel for the service of the house of our God, for the showbread, for the regular grain offering, for the regular burnt offering of the Sabbaths, the new moons, and the set feasts, for the holy things, for the sin offerings to make atonement for Israel, and all the work of the house of our God. We cast lots among the priests, the Levites, and the people for bringing the wood offering into the house of our God, according to our fathers' houses at the appointed times year by year, to burn on the altar of the Lord our God, as it is written in the law. And we made ordinances to bring the first fruits of our ground and the first fruits of all fruit trees of all fruit of all trees, year by year, to the house of the Lord, to bring the firstborn of our sons and our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstborn of our herds and our flocks, to the house of our God, to the priests who minister in the house of our God, to bring the first fruits of our dough, our offerings, the fruit from all kinds of trees, the new wine and oil, to the priests, to the storerooms of the house of our God, and to bring the tithes of our land to the Levites, for the Levites should receive the tithes in all our farming communities. And the priest, the descendant of Aaron, shall be with the Levites when the Levites receive tithes. And the Levites shall bring up 1/10 of the tithes to the house of our God, to the rooms of the storehouse. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring the offering of the grain, of the new wine and oil, to the storerooms where the articles of the sanctuary are, where the priests who minister and the gatekeepers and the singers are, and we will not neglect the house of our God. Now the leaders of the people dwelt at Jerusalem. The rest of the people cast lots to bring one out of 10 to dwell in Jerusalem, the holy city, and 9 tenths were to dwell in the other cities. And the people blessed all the people who willingly offered themselves to dwell at Jerusalem. These are the heads of the province who dwelt in Jerusalem. But in the cities of Judah, everyone dwelt in his own possession in their cities: Israelites, priests, Levites, Nethinim, and descendants of Solomon's servants. Also, in Jerusalem dwelt some of the children of Judah and of the children of Benjamin. The children of Judah: Athaiah the son of Uzziah, the son of Zechariah, the son of Amariah, the son of Shephatiah, the son of Mahalel, of the children of Perez; and Messiah the son of Baruch, the son of Kol Hozheth, the son of Hazaiah, the son of Adaiah, the son of Joarib, the son of Zechariah, the son of Shaloni. All the sons of Perez who dwelt at Jerusalem were 468 valiant men. And these are the sons of Benjamin: Salu the son of Meshullam, the son of Joed, the son of Pedaiah, the son of Kolaiah, the son of Messiah, the son of Ithiel, the son of Jeshiah. And after him Gabai and Salai, 928. Joel the son of Zichri was the overseer, and Judah the son of Senua was second over the city. Of the priests, Jedaiah the son of Joarib and Yakin; Serhariah of the son of Hilkiah the son of Meshullam, the son of Zadok, the son of Meraioth, the son of Atub, was the leader of the house of God. Their brethren who did the work of the house were 822. And Adaiah the son of Jeroam, the son of Pelaliah, the son of Amzi, the son of Zechariah, the son of Pashur, the son of Malchijah, and his brethren, heads of the fathers' houses, were 242. And Amishai the son of Azarel, the son of Azai, the son of Melishimoth, the sons of Emer, and their brethren, mighty men of valor, were 128. Their overseer was Zabdiel, the son of one of the great men. Also of the Levites, Shemaiah the son of Hashub, the son of Azikram, the son of Hashabiah, the son of Buni. Shabbathai and Jehozabad, of the heads of the Levites, had the oversight of the business outside of the house of God. Mattaniah the son of Micha, the son of Zabdi, the son of Asaph, the leader who began the thanksgiving with prayer. Bukiah, the second among his brethren, and Abda, the son of Shammua, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun. All the Levites in the holy city were 284. Moreover, the gatekeepers, Akub, Talmon, and their brethren who kept the gates, were 172. And the rest of Israel, of the priests and Levites, who were all in the cities of Judah, every one in his inheritance. But the Neathim, who dwelt in Ophel, and Ziha and Gishpa were over the Nethim. Also, the overseer of the Levites at Jerusalem was Uzai, the son of Bani, the son of Hashabiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micha, the sons of Asaph, the singers in charge of the service of the house of God. For it was the king's command concerning them that a certain portion should be for the singers, a quota day by day. Pethaiah, the son of Meshazabel, of the children of Zerah, the son of Judah, was the king's deputy in all matters concerning the people. As for the villages with the fields, some of the children of Judah dwelt in Kirjath Arba and its villages, Dibon and its villages, Jekabzeel and its villages, in Jeshua, Moldah, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shual, and Beersheba and its villages, in Ziklag, Mekona and its villages, in Rimmon, Zorah, Jarmuth, Zarnoah, Adullam and their villages, in Lachish and its villages, in Azekah and its villages. They dwelt from Beersheba to the valley of Hinnom. Also the children of Benjamin from Geba dwelt in Mishmash, Aijah, and Bethel and their villages, in Ananoth, Nob, Ananiah, in Hazor, Ramah, Gitam, in Hadad, Zeboim, Nebalat, in Lod, Ono, and the valley of craftsmen, Some of the Judean divisions of the Levites were in Benjamin. Now these are the priests and the Levites who came up with Zerubbabel, the sons of Shealtiel and Jeshua: Shariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Maluk, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Meremoth, Edo, Ginnathoth, Abijah, Mijamaim, Medaiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joarib, Jedaiah, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jedaiah. These were the heads of the priests and their brethren in the days of Jeshua. Moreover, the Levites were Jeshua, Benua, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and Mattaniah, who led the thanksgiving psalms, he and his brethren. Also, Bakbukiah and Uni, their brethren, stood across from them in their duties. Jeshua begot Joachim, Joachim begot Eliashib, Eliashib begot Jehoda begot Jonathan, Jonathan begot Jaddua. Now, in the days of Jehoiakim, the priests, the heads of the fathers' houses were Sariah, Meraiah of Jeremiah, Hanaiah of Ezra, Melisham of Amariah, Jehohanan of Melihu, Jonathan of Shebaniah, Joseph of Harim, Adnah of Miriath, Hilkai of Edo, Zechariah of Jenethon, Melisham of Abijah, Zechari of Minjamin, of Modiah, Miltai of Bilgal, Shamua of Shemaiah, Jehonathan of Jehoiarib, Mattanai of Jedediah, Uzi of Serli, Kali of Amok, Eber of Hilkiah, Hashabiah, and Jedaiah, Nathaniel. During the reign of Darius the Persian, a record was also kept of the Levites and priests who had been heads of their fathers' houses in the days of Eliashib, Jodiah, Jonathan, Jonaan, and Jaddua. The sons of Levi, the heads of the fathers' houses until the days of Jonathan, were Eliashib were written in the book of the Chronicles. And the heads of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua, the son of Kadmiel, with their brothers across from them, to praise and give thanks, group alternating with group, according to the command of David the man of God. Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Melshalam, Talmon, and Akub were gatekeepers, keeping the watch of the storerooms at the gates. These lived in the days of Joachim, the son of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest, the scribe. Now, at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought out the Levites in all their places to bring them to Jerusalem to celebrate the dedication with gladness, both with thanksgivings and singing, with cymbals and stringed instruments and harps. And the sons of the singers gathered together from the countryside around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Netophathites, from the house of Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba and Asmathvah. For the singers had built themselves villages all around Jerusalem. Then the priests and Levites purified themselves, and purified the people, the gates, and the wall. So I brought the leaders of Judah up on the wall, and appointed 2 large thanksgiving choirs. One went to the right hand on the wall toward the refuse gate. After them went Hoshaiah and half the leaders of Judah, and Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, Jeremiah, and some of the priest's sons with trumpets. Zechariah the son of Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micaiah, the son of Zakur, the son of Asaph, and his brethren. Shemaiah, Azarel, Milalai, Gilai, Maai, Nathanael, Judah, and Hanai, with the musical instruments of David the man of God. And Ezra the scribe went before them. By the fountain gate in front of them, they went up the stairs of the city of David, on the stairway of the wall, beyond the house of David, as far as the water gate eastward. The other thanksgiving choir went the opposite way, and I was behind them with half of the people on the wall. going past the tower of the ovens as far as the broad wall, and above the gate of Ephraim, above the old gate, above the fish gate, above the tower of Hananel, the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate, and they stopped by the gate of the prison. So the two thanksgiving choirs stood in the house of God. Likewise, I and half the rulers were with me, and the priest Eliakim, Messiah, Minjamin, Mishaiah, Elionai, Zechariah, and Hananiah with trumpets. Also Messiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzai, Jehohanan, Melchi, Elam, and Ezer. The singers sang loudly with Jezariah, the director. Also that day they offered great sacrifices and rejoiced, for God had made them rejoice with great joy. The women and the children also rejoiced, so that the joy of Jerusalem was heard afar off. And at the same time some were appointed over the rooms of the storehouses of the offerings, the firstfruits and the tithes, to gather into them from the fields of the cities the portions specified by the law for the priests and Levites. For Judah rejoiced over the priests and Levites who ministered. Both the singers and the gatekeepers kept charge of their God and the charge of purification, according to the command of David and Solomon his son. For the days of David and Asaph of old, for in the days of Asaph of old, there were chiefs of the singers and songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. In the days of Zerubbabel and in the days of Nehemiah, all Israel gave the portions for the singers and the gatekeepers, a portion for each day. They also consecrated holy things for the Levites, and the Levites consecrated for them for the children of Aaron. On that day they read from the book of Moses in the hearing of the people, and it was found written that no Ammonite or Moabite should ever come into the assembly of God, because they had not met the children of Israel with bread and water, but hired Balaam against them to curse them. However, our God turned the curse into a blessing. So it was, when they heard the law, that they separated all the mixed multitude from Israel. Now before this, Eliashib the priest, having authority over the storerooms of the house of our God, was allied with Tobiah, and he had prepared for him a large room where previously they had stored the grain offerings, the frankincense, the articles, the tithes of grain, the new wine and oil, which were commanded to be given to the Levites, the singers, and the gatekeepers, and the offerings for the priests. But during all this I was not in Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, I had returned to the king. Then after certain days I obtained leave from the king, and I came to Jerusalem, and discovered the evil that Eliashib had done for Tobiah, in preparing a room for him in the courts of the house of the Lord. And it grieved me bitterly. Therefore I threw all the household goods of Tobiah out of the room. Then I commanded them to cleanse the rooms, and brought back into them the articles of the house of God, with the grain offering and the frankincense. I also realized that the portions for the Levites had not been given to them, for each of the Levites and the singers who did the work had gone back to his field. So I contended with the rulers and said, "Why is the house of God forsaken?" And I gathered them together and set them in their place. Then all Judah brought the tithe of the grain and the new wine and the oil to the storehouse, and I appointed as treasurers over the storehouse Shemaliah the priest and Zadok the scribe, and of the Levites Pedaiah, and next to them was Hanan the son of Zakur, the son of Mattaniah, for they were considered faithful, and their task was to distribute to their brethren. Remember me, O my God, concerning this, and do not wipe out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my God and for its services. In those days I saw people in Judah treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and loading donkeys with wine, grapes, figs, and all kinds of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I warned them about the day on which they were selling provisions. Men of Tyre dwelt there also, who brought in fish and all kinds of goods, and sold them on the Sabbath to the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said to them, "What evil thing is this that you do, by which you profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers do thus? And did not our God bring all this disaster on us and on the city? Yet you bring added wrath on Israel by profaning the Sabbath." So it was at the gates of Jerusalem, as it began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates be shut, and charged that they must not be opened till after the Sabbath. Then I posted some of my servants at the gate, so that no burdens would be brought in on the Sabbath day. Now the merchants and sellers of all kinds of wares lodged outside Jerusalem once or twice. Then I warned them and said to them, Why do you spend the night around the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time on, they came no more on the Sabbath, and I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should go and guard the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of your mercy. Oh, this camera is literally hanging on by. Hopefully, it makes it. We hope you make it, friend. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay. In those days, I also saw Jews who had married women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab, and half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod and could not speak the language of Judah, but spoke according to the language of one or the other people. So I contended with them and cursed them and struck some of them and pulled out their hair and made them swear by God, saying, You shall not give your daughters as wives to their sons, nor take their daughters for your sons or yourselves. Did not King Solomon of Israel sin by these things? Yet among many nations there was no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, pagan women caused even him to sin. Should we then hear of your doing all this great evil, transgressing against our God by marrying pagan women? And one of the sons of Jehoiada, the son of Eliashib, the high priest, was a son-in-law of Sanballat the Horonite. Therefore I drove him from me. Remember them, O my God, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and the Levites. Thus I cleanse them of everything pagan. I also assigned duties to the priests and the Levites, each to his service, and to bringing the wood offering and the first fruits at appointed times. Remember me, O my God, for good. Now it came to pass, the book of Esther. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this was the Ahasuerus, who reigned over 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. In those days, when King Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the citadel, that in the third year of his reign he made a feast for all his officials and servants, the powers of Persia and Media, the nobles and the princes of the provinces before him, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the splendor of his excellent majesty for many days, 180 days in all. And when these days were completed, the king made a feast lasting 7 days for all the people who were present in Shushan the citadel, from great to small, in the court of the garden of the king's palace. There were white and blue linen curtains fastened with cords of fine linen and purple on silver rods and marble pillars, and the couches were of gold and silver on a mosaic pavement of alabaster, turquoise, and white and black marble. And they served drinks in golden vessels, each vessel being different from the other, with royal wine in abundance according to the generosity of the king, in accordance with the law. The drinking was not compulsory, for so the king had ordered all the officers of his household, that they should do according to each man's pleasure. Queen Vashti also made a feast for the women in the royal palace which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, Agbatha, Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, 7 eunuchs who served in the presence of King Ahasuerus, to bring Queen Vashti before the king wearing her royal crown, in order to show her beauty to the people and the officials, for she was beautiful to behold. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command, brought by his eunuchs. Therefore the king was furious, and his anger burned within him. Then the king said to the wise men who understood the times, for this was the king's manner toward all who knew law and justice, those closest to him being Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsina, and Mumukan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, who had access to the king's presence and who ranked highest in the kingdom. What shall we do to Queen Vashti according to the law, because she did not obey the command of King Ahasuerus brought to her by the eunuchs? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Queen Vashti has not only wronged the king, but also all the princes and all the people who are in the provinces of King Ahasuerus. For the queen's behavior will become known to all women, so that they will despise their husbands in their eyes when they report, King Ahasuerus commanded Queen Vashti to be brought in before him, and she did not come. This very day the noble ladies of Persia and Media will say to all the king's officials that they have heard of the behavior of the queen. Thus there will be excessive contempt and wrath. If it pleases the king, let a royal decree go out from him, and let it be recorded in the laws of the Persians and the Medes, so that it will not be altered, that Vashti shall come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. When the king's decree, which he will make, is proclaimed throughout all his empire, for it is great, all wives will honor their husbands, both great and small. And their reply pleased the king and the princess, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. Then he sent letters to all the king's provinces, each province in his own script, and to every people in their own language, that each man should be master of his own house and speak in the language of his own people. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus subsided, he remembered Vashti, what she had done, and what had been decreed against her. Then the king's servants who attended him said, let beautiful young virgins be sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provisions of his kingdom, that they may gather all the beautiful young virgins to Shushan, the citadel, into the women's quarters, under the custody of Haggai, the king's eunuch, custodian of the women, and let beauty preparations be given to them. Then let the young woman who pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti. This thing pleased the king, and he did so. In Shushan, the citadel, there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimi, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. Kish had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captives who had been captured with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And Mordecai had brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The young woman was lovely and beautiful. When her father and mother died, Mordecai took her as his own daughter. So it was, when the king's command and decree were heard, and when many young women were gathered at Shushan the citadel, under the custody of Haggai, that Esther also was taken to the king's palace, into the care of Haggai the custodian of the women. Now the young woman pleased him, and she obtained his favor. So he readily gave beauty preparations to her besides her allowance. Then 7 choice maidservants were provided for her from the king's palace, and he moved her and her maidservants to the best place in the house of the women. Esther had not revealed her people or family, for Mordecai had charged her not to reveal it. And every day Mordecai paced in front of the court of the women's quarters to learn of Esther's welfare and what was happening to her. Each young woman's turn came to go into King Ahasuerus after she had completed 12 months' preparation, according to the regulations for the women, for thus were the days of their preparation apportioned: 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with perfumes and preparations for beautifying women. Thus prepared, each young woman went to the king, and she was given whatever she desired to take with her from the women's quarters to the king's palace. In the evening she went, and in the morning she returned to the second house of the women. to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's eunuch who kept the concubines. She would not go into the king again unless the king delighted in her and called for her by name. Now, when the turn came for Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her as his daughter, to go into the king, she requested nothing but what Haggai, the king's eunuch, the custodian of the woman, advised. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all who saw her. So Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus into his royal palace in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. The king loved Esther more than all the other women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins. So he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great feast, the feast of Esther, for all his officials and servants, and he proclaimed a holiday in the provinces and gave gifts according to the generosity of a king. When virgins were gathered together a second time, Mordecai sat within the king's gate. Now Esther had not revealed her family and her people, just as Mordecai had charged her, for Esther obeyed the command of Mordecai as when she was brought up by him. In those days, while Mordecai was sat within the king's gate, two of the king's eunuchs, Bigthan and Teresh, doorkeepers, became furious and sought to lay hands on King Ahasuerus. So the matter became known to Mordecai, who told Queen Esther, and Esther informed the king in Mordecai's name. And when an inquiry was made into the matter, it was confirmed, and both were hanged on a gallows. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles in the presence of the king. After these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, and it advanced him and set his seat above all the princes who were with him. And all the king's servants who were within the king's gates bowed and paid homage to Haman, for so the king had commanded concerning him. But Mordecai would not bow or pay homage. Then the king's servants who were within the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why do you transgress the king's command?" Now it happened when they spoke to him daily, and he would not listen, that they told it to Haman, to see whether Mordecai's words would stand, for Mordecai had told them that he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not bow or pay him homage, Haman was filled with wrath. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had told him of the people of Mordecai. Instead, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews who were throughout all the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, the people of Mordecai. In the first month, which is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is lot, before Haman to determine the day and the month until it fell on the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, "There is a certain people, scattered and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from all the other peoples, and they do not keep the king's laws. Therefore," oh goodness, we're just hanging on. I don't even know if that's. Hold on. Let's take a break. Let's take a little break. My goodness gracious. Okay, we'll just tape this right here. I Oh dear.